What is up, indie gamers? It is a big week in the indie gaming scene, and you know why. Other indies better get out of the way of Silksong. In fact, some, such as Cloverpit, have done just that. Others, however, are more brave, and we've got a full rundown of all the amazing indie releases that you can look forward to for the week of September 1st through to the 7th of 2025. But real quick, perhaps consider supporting indie visibility. Head over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames and you'll gain Discord access to the greatest indie gaming community. Enjoy early ad-free shows, receive a shout out at the end of every video we produce, and get our podcast 3 days early, as well as so much more. Your new indie gaming community is waiting for you. First up this week, a stinky release. It's Bad Cheese. That doesn't mean the game is bad, old cheese is just a bit foul, isn't it? Anyways, this indie horror game will utilise a striking 1920s animation style and put players in control of the cutest of mice. Living with your parents, the goal of the game is to help out your family members without getting into any mischief. You'll sweep floors, cook meals, clean and even swat away nasty spiders. But as you explore the house, you'll discover a far more sinister story than perhaps you were expecting. You can grab this new indie on the 1st, and the demo is available now if you'd like to give it a try before you buy. Grab this one before it goes mouldy on you. The lactose intolerant need not apply. If animals in suits of armour are more your speed, then Overlooting might be the game for you. In the intersection of inventory management and roguelikes, you'll find this adorable pixel RPG that follows Maximilian, Liz and the Shadow as they quest to defeat a new dark force in their world. Grabbing loot is essential, with each set giving you a special boost that will help you in your battle against darkness. Pair those abilities with the skill tree that shifts every run, and you can develop a build that could make waste of your enemies. With bosses at the end of every level that will test your strength and maybe send you back to the beginning, you need to make sure you're grabbing everything you can get your filthy paws on. In our world, billionaires are pretty bad, but at least they haven't created monster-filled labyrinths we have to run through in order to appease the whims of the general public. Slash your way through hordes of enemies through 4 biomes with hundreds of different rooms, using different weapons and forms to find the best way for you to play. The roguelike elements have you honing your skills with different builds and gaining hype with the audience as you chop the heads of your opponents. If your hype reaches high enough levels, you'll get the chance to earn rewards in a series of minigames. And in case you were worried, there is even a fishing minigame, because as the game puts it, all good games have a fishing minigame. One for the point-and-click fans now, with a trip to the mystical land of Neyyah, a world full of mystery, bizarre cultures and unique landscapes. Using environmental clues and the remnants of a bygone society, you'll have to avenge a civilization, right a wrong and get back home. A series of portals and a collection of remote islands tell the story of the cultures that once lived in the unique buildings you'll find on your journey, and help you discover the way to return to your life. With a completely original soundtrack, 2D point-and-click mechanics on a beautifully rendered world, can you be the one to solve the mysteries of Neyyah? Third-person space adventures now in the form of Otherskin, where you need to absorb alien morphs in order to take on their abilities and complete your mission. Planet Vandermeer is thought to be the source of the Corruption, a deadly universe-spanning threat, and it is up to our protagonist Alex, the 13th Space Crusader, who is ready to sacrifice her life in order to solve the problem. With melee and ranged combat at your disposal, you'll take down alien enemies, absorb their abilities, and find out the secrets of the mysterious, and stunning by the way, planet. Next up, coming out of a very successful early access and crusading its way onto consoles, is Jotunnslayer Hordes of Hel, the roguelike horde survivor set in the dark realms of Norse mythology. Reach for the gods as you channel the powers of the Viking deities that send their blessings, and help in your fight against waves and waves of enemies, completing objectives and aiming your sights on the bosses at the end of each level. The game has had overwhelmingly positive reviews for its early access, with players praising its gameplay as fun and addicting, along with positive vibes for the game's builds, abilities and difficulty level. Hopefully Jotunnslayer won't be sent straight to hell when it launches onto consoles. Gorgeous graphics are folded perfectly with 3D platforming in new adventure game Hirogami. In a world made entirely out of paper, fold yourself into all kinds of shapes as you take on the role of hero, and embark on a quest to save your very fragile home from digital invaders. In a colourful and unique world, you'll solve puzzles, battle enemies, fly through the air, and ultimately save the realm, and with its stop-motion movements and beautiful art style, fans of the genre are sure to have a lot to love when this game launches very soon. Possibly the biggest news since GTA 6 to talk about now, that being of course the release of the long-awaited Hollow Knight sequel, Silksong. Much like its predecessor, the 2D hand-drawn world is gorgeous, and the game itself promises to hit the highs of the first game's combat and platforming. You'll take control of the Princess Knight Hornet, a lethal hunter that must battle their way out of the mysterious world of Silksong, past hordes of bugs, over 40 boss fights, and, with the help of the odd new power here and there, conquering the kingdom. I don't need to tell fans of the series to get excited, as they've been gnawing at the bars of their cages since the game was announced many years ago, but it certainly will be one to sing about upon release. It's about to get pretty speedy now as we take a look at the first-person parkour shooter, JETRUNNER. Described as Trackmania meets Titanfall, you'll jump, shoot and sprint your way through arena after arena, hoping to get the best times and etch your name into the history books. With what looks to be incredibly fluid motion and many a route to take through levels, you can keep running and running until your hands get tired. Complete the campaign as rookie Nina White, or challenge yourself to master the levels and land yourself a spot on the global leaderboards. Have you got what it takes to become the fastest jet runner in the world? Try it out and hopefully you'll see your name in lights. I would have thought the mess in Splatoon would be a Roomba's worst nightmare, but Splatterbot seems to tell a very different story. Play with up to 3 of your pals in the bid to make the most mess and have as much of the floor splattered with your colour goo as you can. With a range of levels with their own unique environments to contend with, you'll have to use abilities and sheer willpower to beat your friends at making the best mess. With simple controls and an easily attainable goal, this could be the perfect addition to any games night, be that with your pals or your granny. This next one you probably shouldn't play with your nan, as she might tell you that video games are far too violent nowadays. What is scarier than demons from hell or baddies from space? Well, I would say it's faceless beasts hell-bent on killing anything they can in the middle of a war-torn country. Set in a remote country in the midst of a civil war, Hell Is Us is the third-person adventure game that has you fighting your way through a horde of supernatural creatures to find out what happened to your parents, and also, of course, why there are horrible faceless beasts around. There are no quest markers, maps or compasses, so you'll have to find your way through this semi-open world using only your instincts, and your swords, or spears or axes, of course. Dive into Hell Is Us and hopefully climb back out before it's too late. Speaking of hell, ever wanted to be on a knockoff Love Island with a bunch of beautiful people who may or may not be totally awful? Well, then, the Fame game, Welcome to Hollywood, will give you the ability to do just that without ever having to leave your house. This FMV game has you take on the role of a formerly ordinary man who gets shot to fame on a reality TV show. And amongst all the problems of being newly famous, you have to find time to explore relationships with a veritable buffet of beautiful women, all of whom have their very own stereotype to latch onto. Will you focus on gratuitous shots of the girl next door's boobs, or maybe the Hollywood starlets? The choice really is yours when you set out to get to one of the Fame game's many endings. ASMR, Cafe Sim, Cat Girls, what more could you possibly ask for from Kemono Teatime? Nothing. The answer is nothing. If you like whispers directly into your ear holes in the beautiful Japanese language, then you will love the customers and servers in the Kemono Cafe who will happily whisper to you their orders all day, every day. Make teas and desserts for your customers to their specific requirements, and please all of the beautifully crafted characters in their gorgeous pixel art style. Get ready for catgirls and coffees when Kemono Teatime launches this week. Speaking of pixel art, Casebook 1899, The Leipzig Murders, joins the ranks of gorgeously designed games, though this time have gone a bit more retro than anime catgirls. A point-and-click crime solver, you'll find yourself in Leipzig, Germany, solving a series of murders in the city. With moments taken straight out of meticulously researched history, clues to find and puzzles to solve, there are plenty of things to get you scratching your head as you solve killer crimes in Leipzig. Another game to bring you back to the good old days now, in the form of Atari's revival of the Atari 2600 classic adventure, adventure, Adventure of Samsara. This 2D Metroidvania takes the original in an all-new direction, with its connected world, twisting narrative and brutal boss fights. The 2D pixel art, use of exploration, and classic Metroidvania mechanics give us a glimpse at the original adventure, but set it apart as a revival rather than a sequel or remake, and do so in a visually interesting and potentially mechanically challenging way. 5 adventure games in one now, as we take a look at the mysterious world of SHUTEN Order. Persona fans may like the look of this one, as you follow a group of humans dealing with the approaching end of days and the sudden beheading of a religious leader that sends society into a frenzy. As you deal with your amnesiac protagonist's quest to overcome God's trial in just 4 days, you'll potentially experience multiple endings, different kinds of gameplay, romance, and even a murder mystery. There is plenty to discover and something for everyone in SHUTEN Order. Neon lights, deadly assassins, and magic take over now, as Tokyo Underground Killer is set to paint the town red this week. Set in the deep underground of Tokyo, Kobayashi, our protagonist, must harness his powers of blood energy to assassinate maniacs and save the city. Brightly coloured and suitably brutal given the subject matter, Tokyo Underground Killer has you slicing enemies with your katana, blasting them away with your shotgun, and using those special blood powers to destroy whatever stands in your way. Explore real locations, play mini-games, and vibe to the completely original electronic soundtrack in Tokyo Underground Killer. Scavenging, selling, and exploring is the name of the game in Lumber and Plunder. Actually, the name of the game is Lumber and Plunder, let's not get that confused. Set on a remote island that is rumoured to hide some lost treasure, you'll have to chop down trees, carve yourself a path, and use those resources to trade for upgrades that'll make life in the forest easier. Find clues as to the great mystery on offer, and uncover everything the island has to offer in Lumber and Plunder. 14-year-old Penny dreams of becoming the champion of the Burrow League, and so she must strap her drill onto her head and descend into the R&D mine for some fast-paced combat and 2D side-scrolling exploration in Maiden. Penny's sister holds the title of champion, and the only way she can beat her is by defending 4 captains and finally taking her sister down in the final fight. Designed to be repeated, this quirky and colourful world should bring you right into the action when Maiden launches this week. Another game with something to offer for everyone is MagicCar of Delicious, which is a little bit mobile tower defense, strategy and management, and a little bit cooking sim. Drive your upgradable chariots around the continent of Atherland across diverse islands with a whole host of different challenges to face. And once you arrive at your destination, you'll need to make sure you've got enough weapons to deal with your enemies. You'll have to set up a food stall and sell magical dishes to the population that will help you with your upgrades and also give you a little levity from the monsters trying to get you. See? I told you, something for everyone. That's all we have for you today. Why not check out one of these games and let us know what you thought in the comments below. Thank you so much for supporting Indie Visibility.